What about you guys?
Real estate.
Real estate? I was a realtor myself like 4 years ago. Yeah. I was doing real estate too, so that's awesome. I can help you guys a lot. I was in Compass actually. They were very AI forward.
We're with Compass.
We're with Compass?
The Otter Rivas team.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
She has MyMeRealEstate.com.
Yeah.
I'm her marketing and advertising manager, as well as her techie guy that runs the website. So this is really interesting to us to see if there's any opportunities to kind of enhance the experience we give to our customers.
No, yeah, of course. We're working with Sotheby's right now to create like an AI training program for them too right now. So it's very cool. Yeah. What about over here? What about you guys? What do you guys do? Well, I'm assuming you guys are in school, right? Or he's in school, but.
He's in school. I work in media.
Awesome. What about you?
I'm an office manager for an engineering firm.
Oh wow, there's a lot you can do as an office. Yeah, there's a lot you can do. But what about you?
We're shooting for fastest labs. We started like an AI agent.
A what?
An AI agent.
So you started an AI agent?
Well, one of our employees started. It's called Nova.
Okay.
It insurance, but we want to learn labs.
Okay, it's like insurance, you said?
No, labs.
Labs. Okay, like medical labs, like I'm assuming? Okay, like comparing results and things like that? All right, cool. It's good to find people on there. At least that's what we do for marketing, right? We use the cookies to go out and find everybody's information out there. So it's kind of like an open book. But what about you, man?
I'm involved in sales and administration.
Oh man, so a lot of sales. Wow. Okay, so definitely there's a lot that all of you guys can use from AI. All right, ready, let's get started. So yeah, considering that this was the first presentation, I kind of wanted to make it like at the ground level, but still give you guys a lot of value where you guys can apply it, to your personal lives and your work lives, right? So the first thing that I wanted to cover is that AI is more than just a chatbot, right? Like I'm sure that we're familiar with ChatGPT, we're familiar with things like Claude and Gemini, right? Like those are the basic AI tools that we've all been using. There's nobody here that's not familiar with those? Perfect. All right, cool. A quick introduction to who I am. So my name is Hyman Rivas. I'm the founder of Otter Digital. Basically what we do at Otter Digital is we take a look at a business, how the business operates, the systems, the procedures, operations that they already have in place, and we build custom systems around them, right? So that whether that be custom workflows, whether that be full CRM systems like ERPs, which are connecting like the different departments together, or basic little automations that just fill in and help them do the day-to-day. And then I was also one of the first graduates from FIU with my MBA in AI integration. So I'm mainly the consultant. I'm the CEO, but I'm mainly the consultant there. And then we have a team of about 8 of us now that we build the technology together and we manage all of these accounts. So next, so when people usually hear the term AI, what they're thinking of is like something like ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT was something that came out like in 2023 and it blew everybody's mind, right? Because a lot of people saw it as something that could immediately start to generate emails and start to do like reports and things like that. And a lot of people saw the use case of it, but there was a lot of people that were really skeptical about the use cases for it, and they viewed it as just a chatbot, right? So, and chatbots have existed since like the 90s, right? Where they were kind of set on they were set on rules, and based on those rules, whatever you asked them, that's how they would reply. So if you asked them something that they didn't have a rule for, you wouldn't get a response, right? So this changed the game. It enabled the chatbot to learn about everything on the internet, and that's basically where it got its database from. I don't know if you guys remember using chat a couple years ago, but you'd ask it a question and it would be like, oh, this is from 2015, right? So now it's connected to the internet, and now it's even more advanced. Yeah, it's live data. I don't know why it messed up there, but it's just the tip of the iceberg, right? So what AI really is, it's several systems working together in one place. It's large language models, it's deep learning, it's neural networks. These are all things, different components that we're not gonna get into too deep right now. I'm just gonna basically lightly cover them, but all of that is what makes up the AI, and that what allows it to actually function, do its own reasoning, and actually do, because what it's doing is it's predicting things, right? So when you give it an answer, it's gonna do its best prediction, kind of like how autocorrect works on your phone when you're gonna type in a grocery store and it autocorrects it to Publix. Like, it'll do it so that instead of it just being like one word, it's like paragraphs that it's guessing for you. So that's why sometimes it quote unquote hallucinates, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep going. So what we're going to cover is more than just a chatbot, how it actually works, and then what it can do for the business. So basically what I just said, it just predicts the next word, right? So the way that it works, it's every word is giving like a ranking, right? And the way that it charges you actually is based on something called tokens, which will read the word, and sometimes it'll split it up into 2 tokens. Right? So every token is usually like 1-to-1 in the English language. In some languages, it's like 1-to-3 per word. So depending on the language that you're using, it can actually be more expensive to use something like ChatGPT that's token based, right? So let's continue. The next is the context. How many of you guys are actually familiar with the term context when it comes to like AI? No? Okay, so context is basically the information that you're giving the AI at once, right? We know what context is, like context when used, in a grammatical sense, it's, information that gives us the knowledge to actually act upon something, right? So with AI, it's actually a double-edged sword, right? So it's actually a graph of like diminishing returns. So as you're feeding it context, it's gonna be more and more intelligent until it gets to a point where right here, it reaches its limit. That's around like 70% context limit. At 70%, it starts to drop off, like at the intelligence, right? That's when it starts to hallucinate. It starts to lose its reasoning. Yeah, I gave you the same answer. I had it where it said the word spaghetti, like every 3rd or 4th word, like in a paragraph, and it was like a whole paper that it gave me like that. So, and that's just because you overfilled it with context. Most people's idea is like, oh, I want to give it as much information as possible. No, that's not the right way to go about it. You want to give it as much information as it needs. Right, so feeding it like an entire PDF document that has like 300 pages, when you only needed 10 pages of that document, it's just going to hallucinate. It's not going to be able to give you accurate answers. It's not going to be able to perform as well as it normally would. So, yeah, so this is kind of like what I was talking about earlier. Like, so these are this is kind of like a broken down part of like what AI, like how it functions, right? So first it's the model that you guys are used to. So that would be like GPT 5.5 or like Claude's Opus, right? Opus model. Then it's the prompt, it's what you actually give it. Next would be like the context, so it's what it can see, what it has access to see. If you have it like Claude desktop on your computer, then it's going to be able to see your files, right? So it doesn't necessarily get all of its context just from your prompt. While using ChatGPT or Claude like online, like on the browser, it's only really going to have the context that it has stored in its memory and whatever you give it at the prompt at that very moment, right? And then next, now that they've added several skills and tools that you can use alongside these chatbots, this is what enables it to be more than a chatbot now, but it's still kind of like at a basic level when you're using it within these tools. And then the next is the memory, which is basically like, it's just a file that it keeps updating over and over and over again to remember what it is that, what it thinks is important, right? It doesn't work that well. It'll remove things that, if it's not like trained properly, it will remove things that, you deemed it to be important without it really knowing that, it was important. So this is where it gets more into a chatbot, right? So obviously, like, it can answer questions, it can answer your emails, it can generate reports, but it can do a lot more, right? It can actually do things for you. And we found that a lot of the menial, boring tasks, the things that like are data entry, document reproduction, things that we like to say that like a trained monkey could do, like that is what we feel like can be replaced by AI in that sense. So the next step from that is actually a big leap. So agents are basically like these chatbots that almost have taken on like a mind of their own, right? These agents are able to do more than just the set tasks that you get them to do. They're able to actually reason a little bit more and think for themselves, but obviously this shouldn't be done without guardrails, which are what kind of like directions and rules that keep the AI in its place, right? And then all of these are used to run a whole system, which is the automation workflows that we create for other people. So the difference between a workflow and an agent, I think when a lot of people are trying to implement AI into not only their lives, but into their work, they're trying to think of things as an agent. They want the AI to just do everything. They want it to be like, to know their whole business, and they want it to just to be able to text it and be like, which is possible, and do this, right? But you don't get the same results from this as you would for a workflow. So for tasks that have specific rules that you can set, that is where you're going to want to use an agentic workflow, right? Because the AI would be able to follow every single set of rules, follow the parameters, and it's trained just to do that, right? Here, it's trained to do everything. It's very general, it's very broad. Unless you have an agent that's trained just for one thing, which is actually the way that I use agents, is I don't just have one agent for me that's on my phone. I have multiple agents that do several things. I have one that schedules for me, that summarizes my emails, that coordinates meetings with my team, and then something that to even check like lead follow-up and stuff. Those are all within like my agentic system. So next. So some of the other things that AI can do, we obviously know that it can read documents. Now with the addition of skills, it allows you to actually use the skills to do several things within like just the browser itself, as opposed to really, having to take the AI out of an environment like that. Right? It can answer calls and texts. That's one of the main ones that we've actually seen that companies want, is that not necessarily for it to completely replace like a receptionist, but we like it in the sense of like when somebody can't pick up the phone after hours and things like that, so people don't miss the customer and they don't miss a lead, right? So it doesn't take the human out of the business. Watch and follow up is a really big one, keeping, yes?
Can I ask, do you want us to ask questions at the end, or can we ask?
You guys can ask questions at any point. I'm sorry, have I lost you guys at any point?
No. Okay, so this that you're showing us now, would this fall under a workflow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, this would be a mix of both. So this would be an agent with guardrails, kind of like how I have mine set up. It's an agent that's just meant to do the receptionist, right? It's just meant to have its known database of, maybe what the business is about. Typically, the customers that use this are like salons and barbershops and like mechanics. So it keeps like a known knowledge about like the business, and then its only task is to really, schedule, make sure to check the calendar and things like that. So it's like very like tunnel vision onto exactly what it has to do.
So a workflow, things that we can ask during the thing, because you mentioned that you got the workflow and you have the agent.
Yes.
In your case, since you're an expert with this, do you kind of choose which one you're using, or you always use an agent?
No, we use a mix of both. Yeah, we use a mix of both. Yeah, because with the agent, you sometimes, even if it has the guardrails, you still don't get like the results correct all the time. So even if I give it like a PDF or something that it's like, oh, you have to make the template like this every time, sometimes it'll give it to me different. But as opposed to a workflow, when it has like those set rules, it'll do it like that pretty much every time. Yes?
Yeah, what about co-work?
Co-work?
Yeah.
Co-work
I
is,
see that in cloud all the time. I'm like,
yeah, but
a lot of people, I see them use the
Copilot, you mean?
So co-work is a part of Claude. So when you download Claude on the desktop, it's like their skill section, right? It's like what enables you to actually do work. But the cool part about that one is it actually does like work on your computer. So if I tell it to like make a report for me, the report appears on my computer instead of me just having to download it, right? So it'll work within folders. It'll gather context from like different folders and things like that.
So that would fall into what?
Agentic, probably more than anything. Yeah, because even if you define like, I would say it's more like still like a chatbot type of thing, but it would align, I guess, more with the agent, just because even if you set up the guardrails, it's not going to do everything perfectly all the time, right? Like I have co-work do things for me all the time. It's just very convenient because I can do a lot of tasks at once, and you can have it do multiple tasks at once. I actually use that as opposed to just using the regular chat sometimes, unless I just need information.
And this is my last.
You can ask as many questions as you want.
I use Codex. I've been using it the past 2 weeks. It's blown my mind.
Yeah.
Is that an agent?
Yeah, that's like an agentic coding tool, right? So that's what's used to like make like code. That's what people use to like make like these apps and stuff that are, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term like vibe coded. So it's where they're using these agents and they're typing to them like what exactly they want, like the parameters they want of the device or the software that they're using, and then the agent just goes and just makes it, right? So that's
Codex do email blast from me of like 2,000 emails.
Yeah. So
it did it, but it made then it organized my spreadsheet. It did a lot of little work. It took a while, but that was the thing. It was is there an easier way? Should I use workflow for that instead of?
So you can use Codex to actually make yourself a workflow, right? So it would use code. It would use like a JSON file instead, which is like actual code instead of, which is what a workflow basically is. It's like a mix of like code and AI, kind of like to guard it, like to guide it in the right direction. And the co-work actually was a spin-off of what Codex and Claude Code is. So a lot of people realized that they could use like Codex and Claude Code, which are, like I said, agentic coding tools, and they were just mainly supposed to be used to create things. But they realized, oh, this can do things all over my computer. So they started experimenting with it. They started making like productivity tools out of it, and that's how co-work actually spawned. So co-work is basically the same thing as like an agentic coding tool, but I think I see it now more as like closer to a chatbot than anything else. But yeah, so that's kind of where that happened. So, and then 3, so what it means for your business, right? So we're seeing that 82% of businesses have already have already invested in AI tools. 27% of them feel confident using it, which is fairly low. And then about 40 cents is what it takes for an AI call, right? So that statistic, we got it from the amount of credits or tokens that it uses from these AI like calling tools, right? The AI receptionists. So now, yeah, I always say that AI is becoming a core part of a business, right? Every single business, in my opinion, is gonna adopt AI in one way or another, whether it be just a small piece of the business or a whole business running on top of it, right? So one of the medical clinics that we work with, they have over 75 automations for everything that they do. If our system goes down for like half of a second, they immediately call me and they're like, oh my God, like, Jane, what do we do? So it can become so deeply ingrained into your business where it's the whole business, or it could be, you know, like I feel like a plumber or something that's like very hands-on, wouldn't have much except for like, you know, some marketing tools and maybe finance tools and like a receptionist, right? It wouldn't be like a workers' comp clinic where they're, you know, every single email is something that they have to bill for, and it's like a whole process and they're getting thousands of those a day. Right, so it really depends on like what your business is, and then the ways and the busy work that you guys can replace using AI, right? So that's the way that you guys should think about it. So yeah, so an example of like what we've built like 24/7 receptionists for medical clinics. Not just the receptionists, like I said, we have workflows of over like 75 automations, which is, you know, document processing, data entry, a lot of sensitive data, actually, though, even though we use workflows that have like these rules and they're guiding things in the right way, we always prefer a human in the loop, right? So at the end, there has to be a human there to review everything, especially if it's anything that's client-facing, anything that's extremely sensitive. Like, for example, all of their billing that they have to send to the insurance is completely automated. So all they have to do at the end of the day, instead of spending 3-4 hours a day trying to fill out those forms for the patients that they had, they just spend 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the day just reviewing, making sure that everything is correct, and then fixing any little mistakes that they may pop up. And to give you an example of the way that we're able to tune these to have, because they're not perfect. AI will make mistakes no matter what, but we want to reduce the mistakes that it makes. So out of like the 1,000 emails that they got yesterday, only about like 20 errors were made, right? So that's not a lot, because it's processing it like multiple times throughout it. It's going through several different processes. So out of all of those 75 automations that were running about thousands of times in that day, there were only like about 20 errors. But there's a way to reduce it, and you have to be very meticulous about the way that you do it and you set it up to be able to do so. Yes?
Is there an answering service? Do you do
Yeah,
calls?
we do. Yeah, so that would be the AI receptionist that answers like the calls. We do like inventory for restaurants. We do. We built a whole CRM for. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Swarm Hospitality. They're basically the ones that do like. They're doing FanFest for the FIFA. So the thing in like Bayshore. So for them, it was like a whole thing that managed like their inventory. It tracked when things were about to expire. And then since they host events, like it made an entire menu based off like what was gonna expire soon, which was like their burn menu, so that they could easily get rid of like those things and that. So it's very useful. We get very creative with like the ways that we implement these things into businesses.
Last quick question. So
Go ahead.
that, so what you just said, all of that,
Yeah.
that it just created, it built and did all the work. What would be, in your opinion, man hours versus using AI hours? Like how much work and how many hours has been cut down? Like
So
having like 10 guys do all that work for FIFA.
yeah. So it depends on what process you look at it, right? Because we saved them probably hundreds of hours. They onboarded about 400 employees, and we made them a like processing system to keep track of every single employee's documents, like their W-9, the training, the contracts, everything, right? And before, they would have to be reaching out like manually to all these people. So yeah, and then imagine there's 400 people. You know, you don't know if somebody sent you their W-9, so you have to go through all those emails. So we made it all very easy for them in that regards, right? So we're saving people, you know, from anywhere with tens to hundreds of hours, you know, a day or a week, right? So yes.
So you're creating software specifically for that
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
to meet their needs.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what my company does. We look at all the processes and the services and everything that they provide, the way that they already do things, because my ethos is that, it's very scary to replace all of your systems with AI. So slowly integrating all of these systems is probably the best way to do it, and then like finding out like, okay, what do I really need? Like, where can AI actually replace some of these things? So that's the way that we've kind of been easing in all of our clients into, using AI and having these workflows and things like that. So, and then content and media was what we did for the Miami Community News, which we built them like a podcast pipeline now. So when they drop the podcast edited into their Google Drive folder, it's connected to the automation workflow where it clips all the podcasts, it creates newsletter articles, it creates newsletter blurbs, and it posts everything to wherever they choose, right? Obviously human in the loop, so they have to, approve all the clips, and then, then now instead of, having to make all that, it's estimated to save them about like 3 hours a podcast, right? Yes.
Sorry, just real quick. So all
No
of
worries.
those things that you're saying that we can do, is it through ChatGPT?
You can do, it's like a mix, right? You'd have to use something like Codex.
Oh, it depends on the AI.
Depends on the AI,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but you guys can replicate a lot of these functions using ChatGPT, right?
Okay.
The reason that I'm explaining these to you, although some of these systems are a little bit more complex to use, is so that you guys can start to get some ideas, because a lot of those automations, they can be made in like ChatGPT. Right, and especially if it's not something that's going to be, these systems are more custom because it's like the entire business is using these operations, right? But maybe like on a one-person basis, it might be okay to kind of just use the ChatGPT and make the automations like there, right? Like I said, you can go to Codex and you can tell it like, oh, I need something that summarizes all my emails. You connect all your emails, and then at the end, every day at like 7 in the morning, it'll give you like a report. So things like that are very easy for it to do, and things like Cowork can do it for you. Cowork has scheduled tasks. That is actually what I would recommend using in that case. Oh, I don't know what happened.
Codex is part of this inside
Or
ChatGPT.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
So you'll see it on the side tab, on the sidebar. Like you can connect it, and then
Okay.
it almost seems like the same.
Okay.
I don't know what happened here. Yeah.
I'm paying $20.
Oh, I really don't know what happened here.
So when you mention Cowork, so you prefer Cowork over Codex?
I do. I use.
Because I was heavy into Claude, and then when I ran to Codex, I'm like, okay, this is.
I don't even know what happened here.
Yeah, I like that.
Let me just do my entire screen. Should be fine. All right, there we go. So the AI receptionist we covered, and then yeah, just to recap, it's more than a chatbot. It's I'm sorry.
So we're kind of talking around a question I have about. So currently, I pay $20 a month to chat.
Yeah.
And somebody and 6 months ago, I could take chat and cut and paste it into Gemini.
Yeah.
And say, okay, chat says this, what do you think? And kind of same with Claude. Now they're becoming more daily monetized to where I go to, okay, go to Claude. I go to Claude right away, they say, no problem, do you want to spend $19.95 or $119.95?
Yeah.
Or like, what the heck, And it hasn't really happened yet in chat, although even today, chat goes, oh, this is interesting what you're asking. Did you want our free premium version for some more money? So how does you're here where most of us kind of
Yeah.
right? We appreciate you being here, but how do I navigate what to do and how to get the most out of like this whole workplace versus agent is interesting. I didn't even know this. How do I navigate? How do we navigate? It's like, oh, golly gee, young people here. How do I navigate where to go and how to spend my money most or lack of most wisely?
In my opinion, I feel like probably the best bang for your buck, I think, is ChatGPT. Out of all of them, I feel like Claude has been getting really, really expensive. Gemini, I think they cut their free tier, so like their free tier is like almost non-existent. Like you can type to it a little bit. So I think right now for the best use cases, especially for you guys, I would probably stick with like ChatGPT or Claude if that's something that you guys have already started using and prefer. I think in my opinion, Claude is a little bit more user-friendly, albeit it's a little bit more expensive, especially when you start using more of these.
Well, it's only 17 and ChatGPT is 20. Their newest pricing.
Yeah.
Set format. So it's actually cheaper than
Yeah, but-
users, yeah.
And I'm going to push back on ChatGPT because I was a very early adopter with ChatGPT, and I have a podcast here.
Okay.
And I would prepare my interviews with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And it would take me 2 hours.
Yeah.
With Claude, 10 minutes.
Yeah. But
It's like, it's not more expensive. He's right, they dropped the price.
It's $17 a month as opposed to ChatGPT, which is $20 for the Pro.
And the time-wise, it's just like a fifth or a tenth of the time.
yeah.
Because of ChatGPT.
Yeah, so the reason that I say that it's more expensive is because I use both of them. I have the $200 plan for both of them. So I run straight through my Claude plan about 3 hours before I run through the Codex one. So yeah, but also for daily automations, and that was even when I had like the 20-month, because I've always been, ever since like the inception, I've always had like the $20 plan for all of them, and whenever I just needed to like, you know, keep doing work but I hit my limit, I would just switch to the next model. So that's where in my experience I found like the testing. But yeah, I prefer Claude. It's just more expensive by far. But the cheaper alternative, yeah, in that case would be ChatGPT. So, but I'm gonna wrap it up here. Was there any other final questions that we have? Yeah, no worries.
API. So,
yeah.
so is it a myth or is it? To me, it seemed like it's been working. So when I'll tell at least I was told to tell my codex to use the API, go into whatever software, whatever thing. I'm like, so I'll connect the API, which is a little bit of manual work, but it uses up less tokens.
Yeah.
Is that a?
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It will use less tokens in most cases, and then. Yeah, I connect APIs or MCP servers. Another thing too, if you start connecting APIs, which is it's basically like this platform gives you like a key, right?
Yeah.
And it allows Chat or Claude to go into and use the software, and you know whatever they allow it to, right? So once you guys start using APIs, you're gonna have to rotate them every month, and that's a thing that I think that a lot of my clients tell me is like, oh hey, all my automations stop working like after a month, right? No, it's because you have to rotate the keys. So we do that for our clients, but that's something that you guys should be aware of.
And I'm only a weekend, so I haven't experienced that.
Yeah. So they're gonna have to rotate them in a month for sure. But thank you guys so much. I'm sorry that I couldn't explain it at a little bit more of a beginner level, but
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.